Well, first of all, let's see what brought you here.
I mean, first and foremost, I think it was just something sporadic. I wanted to travel and started to plan a trip to Greece and got very caught up with the logistics of everything and felt overwhelmed by it. And then I remembered that you were doing a women's retreat. And at 2 a.m., I just decided I'm going to do that. And I think there's a spiritual awakening in myself as well. So I know that even though I took that decision, that there was also something pushing me to that decision. Yeah.
So what has been your experience here? You leave it very young.
I think what's been so beautiful is that there's many generations of women here, and I think there's always learning and growth that can happen in those moments. It's so beautiful to hear about their lives, to compare it to our lives, to hear their stories of growth, strength. I think that's been a really gift to have different ages here. And watching people, just like today's workshop, watching Effie just really open up and receive, and that we're all receiving in that way. We're giving and we're receiving.
What do you feel that you have received all this journey?
I think with the older generations, just I've received from them the permission to just be. There's not judgment. I think there's been an awakening in myself. I'm thinking mainly of today's workshop at sensuality, and like I told you before, I really love to experience the world kinesthetically. That's how I feel like I learn and I grow. And even though I know something, like you see these spiky plants out here, and I know they're spiky and I know they'll hurt me, but I must touch them. I have to experience things that way. So just honoring that in myself, honoring my experience.
And what about your experience related to the Greek culture and outside the works of?
It's been so beautiful. I think that in the beginning I was nervous that maybe I was the only person that spoke English, but it's been a very accommodating environment. It's been so beautiful to be surrounded by Greeks and feel the energy, hear the language, listen to the songs, laugh, taste the food. Yes, swim in the Mediterranean Sea. It's been such a gift. The culture, the community of people here, experiencing Greece through you all. Really, that's the gift.
And the difficulties with the language, how was translations, just to mention that?
It's honestly, you've done a great job. Everybody's been very accommodating, and I think that if you come with an open mind, and I don't know, I don't ever think when I'm listening to the women, I'm listening to them as though I can understand them.
That's a great approach. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it. Yeah. It's just I will be able to understand you. We will be able to connect, and that has happened. It has.
Yeah. Yeah. And what has been your experience by getting to know the Greek goddesses, the archetypes of the Greek goddesses? Was it something totally new for you? Did you have any knowledge about it? or was it totally new?
I would say that it was new. I've delved a little bit into it, but not really. So it's nice to understand their depth and their characteristics. I think I think it's beautiful to learn about women because we are women, and I think that many books and things are geared towards men, and women don't get to express themselves as much. So only focusing on women and goddesses at that is really beautiful, and how each of them relates to us. I think it's interesting that some women were very detested by certain archetypes. But then as each woman shared their experience, they say, their mind opens.
Yeah.
And they realize that there are pieces of themselves in every one of them. And same for me, there was some archetypes that I didn't want to relate to, but I was like, that's me. That is who I am. So it gives us a greater understanding and appreciation of the depth of woman and who we are, I think. It's been beautiful.
Something you learned about yourself?
I think today really solidified that I love to experience the world kinesthetically. I don't think I ever put words to it, but each of the workshops, when I felt most alive is when we were doing, all of the senses were incorporated. I noticed I had energy and life in those times, even if I'm exhausted by the time difference.
Yeah, it is a big thing.
It's a big thing.
It's not small. Though you adapted very well, I have to say.
But yeah, just being able to put into words how I experience life actually helps me to better engage with other people and help them to understand me more.
Yeah.
And me to understand myself more, I guess.
Have you had experience like this with workshops or
Never.
retreats?
This is my first ever experience. And I will say that I'm generally not a person to engage in these sorts of activities. I know that they're beneficial. It just has never been my experience to do something like that. So I was hesitant, and I was thinking in my head, I'll tap in and tap out at my leisure. But I feel very engaged with the material, with the women, with the connection, the community. It's been a gift for me, a blessing.
So what would you say to another woman about coming or not? What would you say to her if she's hesitant to, she doesn't know, she feels like, I don't know, I haven't done this, I'm not creative, or I'm not good at art, or I don't like to move, whatever may be the resistance or the difficulty. What would you say to
Well, I'd say be open, and in each of us, we have all of those things. You think that you may not be artistic, but if you haven't really let yourself explore, you don't really know. And it's in all of us. So I think that was some of my reluctance too, is I'm not an artist, but I wish I was. I wish I could draw. I wish I could paint. But just being free to splat paint on a page or twirl your fingers and paint, play with clay, doesn't matter. There's no judgments. So it's just about being with yourself, really. Exploring yourself, understanding yourself. I think that's how I've experienced it, and that's how I would tell somebody else, my experience, so that they too could be open. Yeah.
You mentioned, at the one point you mentioned, if I may say, that you would like for your mother to
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Because I think that there's healing when women get together. I think that it allows our story not to feel so isolated. I I think the intimacy that was created here was authentic, it was real, it was beautiful. I feel like I'm gonna cry. Because everybody was so open, it really allowed for me to be more open and feel trust. And I think that, you know, I'd love for my mom to experience that. I think she's had sisterhood in general, because I think as women we're taught to be rivals, and that's really sad. We have to uplift each other, and I think when we get in these small spaces with other women and we create that intimacy, we realize that we're not enemies, we're sisters. Like you just said, we're a sisterhood. And I think as women only we can understand that if we allow ourselves to open up and gift each other with those qualities. So I really would love my mom to have a different experience with women, because of her being Aphrodite. She's beautiful, she's a goddess, she attracts so many things, and that can create barriers with other women. And I'd like her to experience something new. And I'd like to see her heal. So,
would you like to share it with her?
Yes.
To share the space.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say, I love that your mom was here. I mean, I know that that may be somewhat challenging for you, but I love that she was here, and I love the connection you all had. And I want that too with my mom, you know? And even though your mom had some challenges with sharing certain things, she didn't hold back.
No.
She gave it her all. And that was really inspiring, you know, for myself, but then also thinking, one day my mom will be in that same spot. She'll be sharing, and I'll see parts of her that I may never see because I am the daughter. Just like your mom said, I'm sorry, daughter, but I need to speak. And I think that, again, that's like that healing and that trust. So, yeah, it's a gift for all of us that your mom was here.
I know. It was a gift for me too. It was a gift for her too.
Yeah.
How do you think the work we're doing may help us support a relationship also with men?
I think it relates a lot to what we talked about this morning in the sea. As women, we're oppressed, suppressed, and the reality is that men are as well. They're put into roles that they may not want or not be, and so I think as children we have this fantasy of what love should be between a man and a woman, and that breaks. It shatters at some point. For some, it took many years. I mean, in the stories of each woman, some it took many years. But it does have to break. And the reason it has to break is because we have to find ourselves. Outside of our culture, outside of our feminine or masculine roles, we have to find who we are. And then what's so beautiful is that you see that these women who are broken by systems, by men, by many different things, have now become open to new experiences and are loving men and themselves the way that they want to, and the way that they can give love and receive love because they know themselves. I think that's where I was trying to go with the men need this as well. You know, we have to find who we are. We have to give loves to ourselves in order to be able to receive love. So it all relates to intimacy and connection with every part of us, not just male or female, but the interdependency, as we put this morning, right? Yeah.
Okay. Any last words?
What another gift that this workshop has been is having the silk bands.
Oh, yes.
And each woman, one woman gave permission to the rest of us by testing the waters to see if we could play with it. And I think every woman has craved that because it literally is like a cocoon or a mother's womb, and each of us have had our experience in that. And I think that was a gift to be in that yoga studio with those there.
It was a gift for me as the coordinator too, because I hadn't planned it, but
Right.
I found it, and exactly, it was like,
It was such a gift. So the beautiful weather, the sea that brings healing to us as well.
that is 300 meters away.
It's so beautiful. You know, the vegetarian cuisine that keeps your mind and your heart and your digestive system clean. That's been a gift. Being with my friend. Meeting new friends. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't take that part where I lick the camera.
This part we'll put it in the bastards.
That part we say cut. No. We made it to